Hello and welcome back to the 816 at 6XL podcast. I'm your host, Joe Ramos, and today we'll be talking about the past matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders, updates on Damar Hamlin, also as well as a couple locks I have for this coming week in the playoffs as the Chiefs have their first round bye, basically talking about opponents that are playing and in the NFC as well. Patrick Mahomes had himself another day, 18 for 26, completing 69% of his passes. One touchdown pass. That was to Jerick McKinnon. That guy's just been on a tear. Granted, it was only a 2-yard touchdown pass, but McKinnon just finding ways to get open while Mahomes is on the scramble. We're just becoming more and more dynamic, and the biggest thing I want to talk about is something that I heard from Shannon Sharpe on Undisputed, his show that he's on with Skip Bayless, talking about Patrick Mahomes lost a 1,700-yard receiver and still threw for over 5,000 yards, the most combined yards in a single season in NFL history. So he had another record-setting year. Kellen and I talked about it at the beginning of the season. I didn't know if Pat was going to win another MVP this year. So far, he's proven me wrong. He's 41 in 12, so 41 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. That's basically a 3-to-1 ratio, which is really good. But yeah, Kellen had predicted at the beginning of the year that he believes this would be Mahomes' second MVP season, and right now I just think it's completely true. I believe he has 44, maybe 45 total touchdowns, a couple rushing touchdowns that he had on the year as well. The man just absolutely continues to prove haters wrong. Everybody at the beginning of this season was saying, what's he going to do without Tyreek Hill? You saw what he did. The team became more dynamic. We added more guys to our arsenal, spread the ball out. I think he hit a combined probably 13 different receivers on the year. Juju came up a couple yards short of 1,000 yards, which is fine. Trav had over 1,000. McKinnon was dicing there. Just an unbelievable job by Patrick Mahomes to get everybody involved. We even saw the home game against the Broncos. We got Blake Bell involved, a guy who had never had a regular season touchdown before in his career. So, like I said, just spreading the ball out to everybody. Just very impressive so far this year. The Chiefs have now locked up the bye, so they get to rest guys who have had injuries. They get that 2 weeks. You know, they may come out a little rusty, but it's nice having that bye week to be able to prepare for the divisional round of the playoffs, as well as just getting in the right mindset and kind of have some team bonding during the bye week. And let me talk to you about our offensive line. 4 of our 5 guys have had the best win rate by position in the NFL over this whole year. And the biggest part was our struggle with our tackles, Andrew Wiley and Orlando Brown, guys who had got beat a lot early in the season with really good pass rushers coming at them. Granted, you know, that is what it is. But just to have 4 of our 5 linemen have a great win rate, ranking in the top 10 throughout the whole year is impressive. Andrew Wiley progressed a lot. He struggled early, but just found a way to be able to fight and get Pat some more time in the pocket. We've really developed a lot this year, more than I thought we could in all aspects of the game. It's nice to see our 4 linemen. Those 4 linemen are getting recognized. Orlando is still kind of a top talent, but he struggled early on. It kind of sucks to see from a guy of that high of a caliber at tackle, your blindside blocker, if you may. Yeah, it was really impressive, great end of the season, and then now to the defense. Chris Jones. I don't believe he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year, which it is what it is, but he did tie his career high in sacks, which was 15.5. George Karlaftis finished with 6.5 as a rookie. I think he was only a couple behind the other rookies, so that was impressive to see. Carlos Dunlap, bringing him in was a huge addition. I believe he finished in the top 5 for passes defended, and then batted down, then the Greek Freak, Furious George Karlaftis came in and as a rookie batted down 6 passes, which only finished a couple behind Carlos Dunlap. So that kid off the edge is a freak. And then when Frank Clark is healthy, and obviously you could tell he's dropped some weight this year, so he's faster off the line. Just a bunch of threats that we bring on the defensive side of the football. Nick Bolton broke Derek Johnson's franchise record in tackles, 180 this year, previously held by DJ at 179. Just an ungodly amount of tackles. You know, if the ball was in the middle of the field, Nick Bolton was getting to you. Willie Gay had a good year as a starter. Just flies around, brings so much energy. I believe he's one of the main energy cogs on that defense. Just impressive. L'Jarius Sneed, I believe, had the best year of his career. Had sacks, forced fumbles, a couple interceptions, a bunch of passes defended. And then the guy that actually had a lot of smack talk against him after the Cincinnati game, Justin Reed, has had one of the best years a safety has ever had. Just unimaginable what he was able to do in coverage. I saw some numbers that were just, he had like in the past couple weeks, I would say like 22 targets at him, only allowing, I believe, 15 yards total, something like that. He also got himself a sack this past week. So he really, after he went on Twitter and started talking a lot of stuff, you could tell he backed it up. And he didn't even in the game against Cincinnati, he didn't even get torched either. So he really is backing up what he was saying. Also, an update I just received, Jerick McKinnon. I knew he had a lot of touchdowns on the year, but 9 receiving touchdowns. He is the first running back to catch 9 or more touchdowns in a single season since Marshall Faulk did in 2001. So, do your math there. I'm not that quick on math, but it is now 2023, the 2022-2023 season. Just unimaginable. Thanks for the update. Just crazy to see that. He also set the record, I believe, a couple weeks ago for most receiving touchdowns by a running back in consecutive games. He really turned it on here when we needed him the most. I said last week, I'm saying it now again, the team's really, really just starting to come together, playing well. Harrison did his job this past week. They did bring up Matthew Wright on the active roster because Harrison had been sore, apparently, this past week. He's kind of just had an injury-ridden season, so it's hard to put a lot of blame on him for his missed kicks, some missed holds, whatever it is. Just kind of had a rougher year, but I'm always rocking with my guys. Matthew Wright stepped up when Harrison was out earlier in the year, just doing his job that he needed to do. But Harrison, just keep doing your thing. We're rocking with you. Tommy Townsend had a great few punts these last few weeks. He's doing well. And then kind of unrelated to the Chiefs, Damar Hamlin, talk about the stories we've had with him over the past week. If you would have told me that he would have been back in Buffalo after a week after going into cardiac arrest on a football field, I would have told you you're out of your damn mind. Just a hell of a recovery from him. It's good for him, obviously. All that pride that he's bringing to Buffalo now. Obviously, continued prayers for his recovery because on a young talent like that, I'd like to see that guy back on the football field. Granted, not to be rushed because his health is the most important thing and his life is the most important thing for him. But just to see that all the updates we were getting during the game and then to see it's kind of like a storybook ending to like the first part of his recovery where Buffalo takes their opening kickoff back to the house 101 yards to start the football game, and Damar Hamlin had set off all the alarms in his floor because he had jumped up and started yelling and cheering for his team, and it was crazy just to see the outpouring support that the Bills got along with Damar Hamlin and Damar's family. Also with T. Higgins being able to see that the last guy that made contact with Damar saw his recovery as well, so I'm sure that puts him in a better mental state as well. This man right here, Patrick Mahomes. I believe I'll probably end up getting another MVP ball after this year because setting the record for the most yards by a player in a season. And what else is there for me to say? Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. I'm not going to say of all time because we know who that is. I mean, maybe by the end of his career he will be with his accolades. I do believe there's nobody close within the MVP voting right now anymore. Pat made a name for himself, especially in this last week, just showing his scrambling abilities again. And then kind of to transfer away from that, I saw a lot of things on social media about the little ring around the rosy that we did. and a bunch of memes saying ring around the rosy, throw the ball to Tony. That play ended up getting called back for a holding penalty, but then we got the ball to Tony again, and he scored on that ensuing play. And then you saw teams that weren't even involved saying, "Oh, that play really pissed me off." We're having fun with the game. We're enjoying it. I mean, so are you telling me that when we were in a scoreless game in the Super Bowl, we did the Rose Bowl, the Shift Right Parade, was that a disrespectful move too? It ended up getting us a first down to lead to a touchdown next by Patrick Mahomes. We've had jet chip wasp, crazy plays. I mean, we're having fun while we're playing in intense games that where we needed to lock up the number 1 seed, and you call that disrespectful. If you want to keep calling it that, come stop us. Come stop the Chiefs from doing it. And if your biggest goal in your career is just to beat your Chiefs one time, there's probably a lot more things that you need to focus on, because Patrick Mahomes is the father of the AFC West. This is the only time I'm really going to get unleashed, because I'm sick of the hate that man gets. I'm sick of the hate that the Chiefs get. You know, a lot of people hate our fan base, but I do believe there's a lot of people out there that didn't know who the Chiefs were until Mr. 15 came into town. But if you weren't, let's stop the hate. Pat's him. The Chiefs are dogs. Until you can stop us, they're going to keep doing with those unimaginable plays that you can't stop. I mean, we went around in a few circles, looked like, what do you call that, roulette? We were in Vegas, so we ran a little roulette table right there. Threw the ball to Tony, touchdown, call back, hand the ball off to Tony, touchdown, yeah. And you can't stop him. The Joker, you got the Joker face. I believe he is continuing to show why he's one of the best receivers on the football team. Juju's been well all year. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, obviously another deep threat. Just come playoff time, coming into Arrowhead in the divisional round, we'll be ready. And also, an upset that I want to pick right now. I don't know if it will happen, but I can see it happening. I would love to see Tyreek Hill back in Kansas City for the divisional round. That means the Dolphins will have to pull off the upset against the Buffalo Bills. They beat them once this year, so they're 1-1. So it's hard to beat a team twice. But, you know, if Buffalo would have been 2-0 against the Dolphins this year, I think I would have seen more of harder for Buffalo to win. But now I believe it was split. I could be wrong. But even if Buffalo is 2-0 against the Dolphins this year, it's going to be hard to beat a team 3 times. So, my full hit. Yeah, I'd love to see Tyreek Hill in Kansas City. But now to my full playoff predictions for the Kansas City Chiefs. Honestly, just from the AFC side, I'm going to see Miami beat Buffalo. I want Baltimore to beat Cincinnati. I don't see that happening. So Cincinnati moving on. And then the Chargers and the Jags playing. I think I could see Jacksonville winning since it is at home in Jacksonville. But also, if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are healthy, they're going to be hard to stop. So I believe the Chargers will take that game. And then it'll be the Bengals and the Chargers in the divisional round. And then the Chiefs versus the Dolphins. Chiefs take that game in a close battle, a 31-27 kind of game. And then I believe the Chargers take the Bengals. And then we will see the Chargers in the AFC Championship on January 29th. I believe that would be a 3:30 kickoff. And then I see the Chiefs moving on to the Super Bowl, heading down to Glendale, Arizona, to play in Arizona for the second time of the year. It's where they started the year, and that's where they're going to end the year. So going from 14-3 at the end of the regular season to 17-3. I'm ready for Pat to get that second Super Bowl. Just imagine in a calendar year of all the things that have happened in the great metropolitan area. You saw Kansas win a natty. You saw they went bowling again this year. Mizzou was kind of back in the bowling era, even though they did lose. Just a lot of big things going on for the city. KC Current's building up their stadium right now. And just imagine what winning a Super Bowl would do for the city. It brings more revenue in, helping the city out in all ways. So it would just be crazy to see Pat win his second MVP, win his second Super Bowl ring, and possibly a second Super Bowl MVP. Everything's coming together. at the right time. Patrick Mahomes is him. Travis is him. Chris Jones, Nick Bolton, L'Jarius Sneed, everybody. Everybody's well-oiled machine. That's what I talked about at the beginning of the year, where we're going to need to be to win this Super Bowl. We're putting people to sleep. We're playing good football. And now it is time for the playoffs and time to rock. I'm ready. It's time to go. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to the 816, the 660 podcast. I'm your host, Joe Ramos. And as always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Double deuces.